We're learning more about the future of Mid-City Mall and what it'll look like. Representatives for Branch Properties spoke at today's Highlands Commerce Guild meeting. Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote breaks down their plans.
The future of Mid-City Mall is coming into focus as representatives shared their plans for the space Wednesday morning. Developers say these plans were designed after meeting with several neighborhood associations and hearing what stakeholders wanted to see.
And then now in this phase and making sure that we are meeting with all the right groups and people to get an additional round of feedback.
The proposal calls for a large grocery store. Developers talked about a Publix to be the centerpiece. Separate buildings around it will be home to other businesses. One of those buildings will be the Highlands Shelby Park Library, currently in the mall. One focus of the design is pedestrian safety. Developers say they'll take out roughly 150 parking spots.
That is something that I think that does kind of stick out about the design is there's a lot more in terms of safe pedestrian access into and through the site than there is today.
They'll also be adding more green space. Representatives say the architect had Louisville in mind when drawing up the designs.
Their in-house architect. She and her husband came to town and spent some time, took hundreds of photographs of key buildings, key locations within and throughout the Highlands. And tried to incorporate some of those building elements especially in the buildings that really face Bardstown Road.
Developers for the project say they want to move fast. They're aiming for demolition of the mall by the end of the year, and then construction to be 14 months after that point. In Louisville, Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
And the developers say that the steps between today and demolition include having the proposal be reviewed by city staff and the Board of Zoning Adjustment. More changes could be made to these renderings. When the proposal approval is obtained, plans will be made for the mall to be demolished.